You're on.
We are going to bring to order the regular meeting of the Larkspur Parks and Recreation Commission. Today is April 20th, 2023, and the time is 6:30 p.m. We're going to start with a roll call. Nick, can you lead us through that?
I can. Vice Chair Capel,
Here, present.
Commissioner Harrison,
Here.
Commissioner Baxter,
Here.
and Commissioner Friedel.
Here.
And Chair Sunshine is absent tonight.
And as we have a forum, we're going to move forward with the meeting. So we'll move straight on to item number 2, which is the public comment. Looking in this grand room here, I noticed that there's no one from the public in attendance. And so therefore.
No one online either. Yeah,
And no one's online?
no one online.
Okay. Then we're just gonna roll right along to agenda item number 3, the approval of the consent calendar. Would anyone like to make any comments or make a motion to?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 16th as written.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
It's
Perfect.
like a vote of 4-0.
Motion to pass the minutes passes 4-0.
Passing that right along. We have no item number 4, which is the public hearing. And so we are going to move on to item number 5, business items. 5.1 Piper Dog Park rules. And I believe that one and only Nick Stone is going to give us a presentation, some background information. And so I'm going to just hand it over to you.
Perfect, thank you. Dog park, long time coming. When I started here, this dog park was still in the works. We were doing public hearings on it and meetings out at Piper Park. And this is all tied into the Bon Air Bridge project. As a deal with the federal government, we are converting the dog park, the current dog park out past the Hall Field and out next to the garden back to marshland. And in exchange, we are getting the brand new dog park built just next to the police station. So if you've driven by in the last 6 months, you've seen work out there, right along Doherty. And as we are nearing completion of the project, it's looking great. Most of the dog park is actually done. There's just some work that needs to be done around it and some add-ons and irrigation work. But as we're nearing completion, we realized that we do not have dog park rules. Our old dog park had, I think it just has one sign that is pick up after your pet, and there were no official rules at that park. And that just became apparent in the last couple months. So what I'd like to do is put together some rules for folks to follow when they're at the park with their dog. And so the way I structured this discussion is I put together a few local dog park rules in the packet here that you can see, and I picked, I believe, 8 rules that I thought should be included in our dog park rules. And they're very much open. You know, dog park rules are very standard across most cities. There's like about 10 rules, and every city seems to have some combination of those rules. So some rules need to be there and they're really not up for debate. And then other rules, as we move on, we can see that there's some room for discussion and trying to figure out what that looks like. We don't have an official opening yet for the dog park. We're looking at mid-May, which may or may not be before the next commission meeting. So I'd like to have the rules in place tonight, or a solid direction on which way to go with the rules tonight, so that I can have those rules posted when the dog park does open. And are there any questions before we jump into the discussion?
Commissioners, anyone have any questions? I was hoping you could just sort of talk about how it's been going with the current dog park the way it's organized now, and what you've learned over the last few years, with that dog park and how that applies to the rules we're gonna work on.
Thank you. I should have brought that up. The dog park has been working, from my experience, really well. As a few of you know, I used to bring my dog to work with me, and my former director, Dick Whitley, used to bring his dog, and so we are no strangers to the dog park. In my experience, the dog park was always a very pleasant place. There wasn't a lot of confusion about the lack of rules, so much so that I never even noticed that there weren't rules. Right now, there's as we move along the discussion, you'll see that there's a rule on there about how many dogs should be allowed in the dog park, which I think we can talk a little bit more about later. But what that stems from is dog walkers in the park and utilizing the off-leash dog park area. The Piper Park traditionally, is an on-leash. Dogs are allowed on leash in Piper Park. As you know, that is not the case.
On the leash.
And there's that too. So the only place that dogs are allowed off leash in Piper currently is in the dog park. But right now, there are so many days where we'll go out there and there'll be 20, 30 dogs running around the soccer field and not a soul in the dog park. So we're hoping that the new dog park changes that mentality, along with the code enforcement officer that just started last month.
Okay, and then the way it's going to be built, you're going to have an area for the small dogs and the large dogs, and that's the way it is now, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and has there been an issue with that division?
I've never seen the division. I've never seen the division in Larkspur. I have heard horror stories of other dog parks where a small dog will be bowled over by a large dog. In my experience, a lot of people with small dogs like the safety of the small dog park. And my dog is 12 pounds, and so we used both, but generally bigger dogs can be intimidating for the little ones.
Okay. And then can you just talk a little bit about your methodology and how you went about looking at the other dog park rules in the area?
Yeah, so I went through and pulled up a bunch of comparable dog parks, or the ones that I felt were comparable. There are some that are a little bit different. Either the location is kind of different, and I wasn't sure that Larkspur fit in with that. For example, Sausalito, I think, is more of a destination than Larkspur is, so I didn't include the Sausalito rules. And then Mill Valley is a little bit different as well, with the fencing and stuff. So these were kind of local examples that I think we could use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please.
So you said some rules are non-negotiable. I'm assuming that's no smoking and what else?
So
For Madeira Park.
So that's the Corte Madera one. That, that's a park rule, so I don't feel that we need to include that.
So which ones are?
So dogs exhibiting aggressive behavior. The enter
On a leash.
enter and leave on a leash. Dogs must be accompanied by an owner. Owners must clean up after their pets. And large dogs are not permitted in the small area, or some variation of that rule,
So
because
those are all pretty standard.
Yes.
Those are going to be up there. So
Mhm.
for discussion on defining a large and small dog. Right, and then, the children unattended
Mhm.
is 12 the right age. I think $6 per person is all of that, so that's a discussion item. And you can't leave it on unattended, obviously, we cannot, but. I also think one thing would be good, I mean, and I don't know what the cities, I haven't seen a lot of signage in the city of Spanish as well.
I will be making this in Spanish as well.
Well, because I know that once you start publishing things in multiple languages, you always have to do it, that's the law.
We've started in the picnic area, and so I think we're gonna
We have-
continue with that, yeah.
But once you start doing it, you gotta do it.
Yep.
So we're having to do both languages. The only thing that I would say is I don't know anyone who agrees on the side of their dog. My mother, that's her soul, would continually tell me that my first sister has a medium-sized dog and she's 7 foot now.
Mhm.
So not a medium-sized dog. Can we put like, I'm thinking like when you're on a plane, it says if your suitcase fit in here, and it'll be like our Disneyland. My favorite place. Is there like, if your dog fits under here, it goes in here, if it can't fit under here, it can't go in, like something that to define that, so just. I want to eliminate. The aggression from the owners.
Yes, and that is absolutely up for discussion. So it's got to be some kind of variation of this rule. So how, how specific we get is really, really up to you guys. I think, I'm not sure how, that we're going to be out there with scales, but some kind of,
Because the dog went in.
maybe a silhouette on the,
Yeah, exactly, just something.
like a fair ride kind of,
And,
yeah.
and on these postings, neither one of these examples, this is from your dog park and it says. Dog on metal park, awesome. What do they call it? When you post. Enforcement, who by the way was running terror at the type of park. Everyone's like, I'm using enforcement, I walk up there with a vest, I walk at night, are you the enforcement officer now?
I didn't even know that he's been out to Piper Park. Okay, all
I
right.
just want to say yes.
I don't know that there is that the police number is next to it, but we could certainly. Thank you. Might be a misprint on that number and it might go. So. Yes, I think that we could put the police non-emergency number on there, or potentially if we identify that Marin Humane is better. Okay.
My photos of people talking.
Perfect.
Do any other commissioners have any questions or comments?
This is a topic near and dear to my heart, as I do have a small dog. I have frequently gone to different dog parks, both in the East Bay and here. I guess anytime I'm looking at rules, I want to understand what we're hoping to accomplish with the rules. And sometimes I feel when we have too many rules and they're too specific, we're kind of opening ourselves up for a lot of perhaps unnecessary debate amongst folks. So I wonder why we want the leash going in and out of the park. I, for one, don't ever or rarely put a leash on my dog since 8 pounds. And
You carry your dog.
I carry, yeah, so I would carry him into the park and I would carry him out of the park. So, I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. The other thing that I think we need to think about when it comes to big and little is what if I'm a pet owner and I have a big dog and a little dog? A lot of people do. So I would throw out the suggestion that if you want to go into the big dog park with a little dog, you do so at your own risk. If I have a big dog and my big dog can't go in with the little dogs, we know that. But can my little dog go in to the big dog park if I'm cool with that?
That is why I wrote large dogs are not permitted in the small dog
Right,
park. So,
yeah.
so that's exactly what I was thinking when I wrote it that way. The leash on dog is one, I mean, dogs are supposed to be on leash in the park. And with the movement of this dog park right next to the playground, there's a little bit of angst around that.
Right there. There's your reason. And that's, that's a legitimate reason.
Well, and the park is leash.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But I get.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I would hope that I would not get stopped and cited if I'm carrying my dog through the park to the dog park. I mean, I would hope
Embarrassing.
it would be.
We'll get you a tiny little leash.
Really what you're getting at is whether we need to have any language about leash on and off, leash
Yeah.
on, in and out.
Yeah, I mean, but I do understand it's gonna be close to the children's play area and that might very well, be the more important factor, really. I mean, I'm one of those people who believes that you ought to use common sense when it comes to rules. But I might be
No, I
in the minority.
totally agree.
Um. And going to the don't bring food into the park.
Mhm.
Yeah. And does that mean that I can't, run by Lily's and get a latte before I go to the dog park?
It depends on how you define food.
That's exactly what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of people, what I'm trying to do is think about the
Yeah.
experience. People like to take their dog, walk in there, have a cup of coffee, maybe they have a donut or something. What is our worry?
I think the worry with this is, because I have seen this where somebody in the dog park was eating a sandwich, a kid was in there eating a sandwich. Food was dropping, the dogs
Got
swarmed,
it.
and the dogs were jumping up to get the sandwich. Now, a sandwich, a little kid with a sandwich is an extreme
Yeah.
example, but
Cheetos or.
yeah,
Yeah.
now dog, people have treats that they bring in.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, that's food, but don't think it's an issue. So.
My daughter was licking on a popsicle when she was about 4 or 5 years old. Neighbor's backyard, and they had a dog, and the dog wanted to. And ended up biting her in the cheek.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that kind of stuff does happen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that is why the language regarding the kids and stuff is probably very important, like, because really the idea is to have a place where the dogs can safely frolic off leash.
Mhm.
So is this one where really it's more about saying kids should not be in the doggy frolicking area? I don't know. But it's hard, I don't, once again, I have a little dog, although that's not. And so if I had him in the park and all of a sudden, somebody comes in with 4 or 5 little kids, I'm gonna pick my dog up and lick. It's no longer a little dog park for me, because I can't leave my dog, with kids.
Yeah. I actually like the corner here dog park rules.
Mhm.
Um,
They were just done recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dogs that bark persistently must be removed. The only thing I would add there is add aggressive.
Mhm.
Active aggressively, because that's. Your dog out there that's attacking other dogs or sniffing at other people should, there's nothing in here that I see about.
Yep.
It says aggressive animals are prohibited, but.
What I like
No, I
about
agree.
the Tournament dog rules, it has this nice friendly intro.
Help us.
Mhm.
Help us.
Mhm.
And maybe, this will be, I think something up for discussion, whether we want to add a paragraph similar to that. To our rules, because right now we only have basically like the discussion points which are. Correlate right back to, the different rules, but. Do we want to follow suit with something similar with, this little intro?
Yeah, and you're saying 3 dogs, not 6. You're saying, is that?
Well, Nick, can you speak to that? 'Cause,
Yeah.
I think there's some history about.
Do you guys want to go through the rules and get there, or do you want to? Me to, no, I mean, I can do it either way, but let's see, yeah, so the reason that I put 6, and this is. I'm gonna leave up to you guys, is that currently dog walkers with up to 6 dogs are utilizing. The Piper Park dog park. And so again, there's no rules right now, so there's no rule saying that they can't.
So you have actual history of people with 6 dogs.
Yeah, I know them. I see people using it. I also see dog walkers that don't use the the dog park, and they go out, and yeah, so, so there is both, but it is a destination during the day for dog walkers, and,
It is a lot.
it's a lot of dogs, so I was looking more into it, so dog walkers with a license can have 6 dogs on leash in the county, that's a county rule. Yeah, so that's why I picked 6 and not, 5 or 7. But it really depends, and in most dog parks, say 3, and it's, which is 3 is the legal number of dogs you're allowed to own in the county. Which yeah, so that's why 3 is the number for most city parks, and then most city parks are looking to not have dog walkers in their parks. And I know that was a point that Sausalito made when they developed their dog rules.
Nick, question, in your research, I looked at some other cities and they would say 2 in the max threshold of dogs, and they talked a little bit about span and control, and one person being able to take care of 2 dogs.
Yeah.
They probably couldn't handle 6 at the same time if they're on a leash.
Mhm.
Do you come across anything similar to that? With regards to safety or?
No, not that I found. I didn't dig deep into safety for that many dogs. Yeah.
Okay, but just
Yeah.
imagine the being an issue. If you have 6 dogs, having one person control how to go monitor.
I would
size.
think there's no way to do it. Yeah.
If we had 6 dogs and a small one, like, well, that's all.
Yeah.
But your experience currently is that people are coming out with 6 dogs and there has been an issue.
Not that I know of.
And we're probably not in the campaign. Dog.
A lot of the dog walkers do use the dog park. A lot don't. But again, we're going to get to a point with the code enforcement officer where they're cracking down. And now if the dog walkers have 6 dogs on leashes, then there's no room for tickets. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been out in like the 3 nights a week.
Mhm.
Walking, over, and 1 out of 10 dogs. It,
And it's generous. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, I would lean towards the number 6. One, because it is something that is already in the county code. And there hasn't been a problem with it. The other aspect of this is if we make it so that it's challenging for a dog walker to use the park legally with their 6, we are going to be moving them to other areas that might not be as, accommodating than a dog. At least you know what you're getting in a dog park. Okay, when I go out and I walk on Port Madera Path, and there's lots of dogs out there, which is wonderful and fabulous, but I understand that it's not a dog park. I understand that bicyclists are out there, and runners are out there, and strollers are out there, and we all have to figure out how to get along. But when I go to a dog park, it's my doggy park. So I would be probably much more tolerant of somebody coming with 6 dogs, because hey, it's dog park.
I just think it's the county road, that's.
Trying to organize our discussion here a little bit. I think at this point, if we've heard enough background information from Nick, I think we should move on to just looking at each of the discussion points and see if we can come up with a consensus amongst ourselves. And let's see how this works out. Hopefully, we'll be able to come up with a consensus for each of the items and then vote at the end on on the final language for the rules. And if that doesn't work, we can do it individually and just kind of vote individually on each item. Let's at first try to get through and see how much how much discussion is needed and whether we can move forward easily or with discussion. Having said that, let's move on to item 1. I'll just read, large dogs are not permitted in the small dog area. And then we have 2 discussion items. What is large? How do you define large? And are small dogs allowed in the large dog area? I'll open it up for discussion amongst the commissioners.
One thought I had, that I think Gene and Vicky mentioned earlier, is that airlines use a size to contain which dogs are allowed on the aircraft, and that sets the definition of what is considered a small dog. Sit under the seat or in the lap, and not be disruptive. So that might be one suggestion.
I would agree. There's gotta be some definition what the rest of the world uses outside the dog park, what large and small is.
Mhm.
Whatever that is, I'm not gonna tell you that it's a 12-pound dog or,
Yeah.
I don't.
One of the thoughts that I had with this too was, if you had, say, 3 dogs at the dog park at a given time, and one was a Bernese Mountain Dog, one was a Great Dane, and one was a Golden Lab. Perhaps the lab owner would want to be in the small dog area because of the size of the other dogs. So I threw a wrench in it, I can tell.
Yeah,
I think that any governing body. I'm happy to use. Airplane define if it's a small dog, and to the point of. Small dogs and large, I think to the point of, I feel my small dog can hold his own with the big dogs and I'm responsible,
so
not vice versa.
does someone want to suggest the next sentence after large dogs are not permitted in small dog area? That's if we agree that language should remain as is. Do we want to then put in parentheses or just a second sentence saying a small dog is defined as ...
Well, large dogs are not permitted in the small dog area. I think that's fine. Then we go back to the more finite we become, the more difficult it is to govern and interpretation comes into it. I don't think you have to add the last line, small dogs are allowed in large dogs. I was thinking to say that large not allowed in small.
Yeah.
And then I would go back to literally the visual aid.
Mhm.
Like the dog has to be under this height. Something.
So that's
Even the small dog. park. And what is it what is the, do you know, the airline is it 12 pounds?
I'm not sure.
They don't have a weight, so it's not a weight, it's not a weight, it has to do with the dog being able to stand in its carrier, and the carrier has to be able to sit and then sit in front of you. So if you have, I mean, what's the maximum? They have little short legs, but they weigh a lot. So I think that,
What's height, not weight.
I would say it's a combination of pound and weight, I really do, I think a small dog is generally 30 to 25 pounds or below.
Mhm.
And they usually don't stand probably more than about 12 inches,
Mhm.
12 to 18 inches.
Do you think that with a solid opening paragraph to the rules about talk to your, talk to the people that are here and come, I mean,
Oh, I don't think we should ask constituents to talk to each other and have a conversation.
yeah, I would be hesitant to define the size of a dog.
I mean, my experience is that most of us have a rough idea of what is a big dog and a little dog. Except your mother, which is really interesting, because that is a big dog. I mean, once again, my personal experience is we have a small dog group that meets every evening, and every now and then, big dogs come, and, it's okay if the big dog is well behaved, I'm not suggesting that for this, but people generally know that's a big dog.
Right, I'm wondering if you just say, large dogs are not permitted in the small dog area. End of sentence.
Yeah,
End of
just-
thought. Because at some point, if it becomes a problem, it's going to come in front of us again.
Yeah.
Then we have to get more specific about this.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about keeping it as simple as possible and
Yeah.
friendly as possible too.
Yeah. And I would imagine that the code enforcement officer, if they're required, if the need exists, is gonna go in and try to
Check it out. again.
try to mediate it and say, hey. Everybody agrees Please, that's a big dog, move to the next park, you know. I would think that that's the idea, and we're hoping we're not gonna be. Citations.
Do you want a motion of each session? Or do you want to-
Yeah, it might be easiest, really. All right, so, the topic in hand here is whether item 1 and the language, large dogs are not permitted in the small dog area. Is that sufficient as is?
I would make a motion that we move that line item as is.
Just second that motion.
All in favor?
Uh,
Motion passes. 4-0.
Let's go on to rule number 2. Dogs must be accompanied by their owner at all times. Unattended dogs will be impounded.
How can you make that motion?
I would second that.
All in favor?
Oh.
Oh, you have any-
Discussion.
Yeah, let's get back up.
Second,
Discussion.
owner? What if, I'm out of town and my pet sitter wants to take the dog? Or my dog, I have a dog walker, they just walk my dog, because I work all day long.
Right.
So is it really owner, or is it dogs must be accompanied by a human companion? Or I don't know what the.
Caretaker?
Yeah, or, I mean, I don't know what the right language is, I agree, dogs need to be with someone, they have to be linked up to somebody, but, or do you think that?
I think owner is fine. I think
Okay.
if you're babysitting, I'm owning that dog.
Okay.
now. But to
Alright.
me, again, I'm gonna use the needs if we.
I'd be okay with changing it to caretaker or something with a little bit softer or not so specific.
There's a lot of owners in here a few times. So if there were a good word that we could substitute,
I mean, to me, it all comes back to the way in which something like this is important. You know, if the understanding is we're using owner because it's clear and it's concise and it's, you know, and we're not gonna run into a situation where some code enforcement officer decides, you know, show me your papers kind of a thing,
yeah.
but I'm fine.
Yeah, I think owner is.
Yeah, I get it, I'm just, you know, my background.
Fine. More for your.
Yeah.
Any more discussion about item number 2? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
We have a motion in a second.
Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
And just to be clear, we're leaving item number 2, as written.
Motion passes.
Item 3, owners must clean up after their pets. Anyone have any comments?
I'm assuming those cute bags will be there.
Cute bags will be there.
I mean, you could have something like pick up your dog after pick up your dog's poop, something like that. Be a little more fun, but
Please don't have it like dog bone meadow park, that description was. over.
I thought you'd like that. Said feces. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus it could imply they throw up or something.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then
Clean
we,
up after your pet.
So I'm sorry, I'll make a motion that line item 4.
3,
No,
Three.
3 stands in there.
I'll second that.
all in favor? Aye.
4-0, motion passes.
All right. Item 4. No food allowed in the dog park. And we'll entertain some discussion on it.
I think Vicky brought up a good point earlier. What if you want to bring coffee or drink? And say that it's okay to have drink, but not food? Would that be okay?
I mean, I'm just thinking of your daughter and kid who drops a sandwich and just won't get attacked. Because to be honest, not all dogs are well behaved. So.
Milkshake.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm actually okay with no food being allowed in the dog.
As am I, but do we need to say anything specifically about it? Or is it just sort of, if you don't say anything, then
We could say,
Yeah,
Say-
yeah, softly.
Or just, once again, it comes back to how does one define food? If the intent is to define food as non-beverage,
You
Right.
say solid food?
yeah, I mean,
Not to get too legalese here,
Yeah.
but there is food and beverage, food and drink.
that's that was my
Typically,
difference when they talk about food and beverage. So if we kind of agree that a beverage would be okay, then yeah, there should probably not be food.
right.
People should,
But there's no need to specifically say drinks are okay. Because as long as we keep it simple, no
Yeah,
food allowed in the dog park.
it's implied,
Again, it gives us a
and it gives us, I agree,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, if we have enough discussion, someone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve it as is.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
passes 4-0.
Item number 5, dogs exhibiting aggressive behavior shall not be permitted within the dog park. An owner of a dog which has displayed aggressive behavior shall remove the dog from the dog park immediately. Any discussion?
kind of like the way Puerto Rico is.
I do too, now, all dogs must be well behaved, aggressive animals, like I had a. That seems a little bit like. When you're walking, what I've heard, I don't own a dog, but my walker has a dog, and the first thing out of the mouth is always, they're friendly.
Yes,
It's like universal.
Yes, it
There's
is.
language right in that,
Yes.
okay, so. You know if your dog's friendly and is gonna, just make a little sniff and move on, but. What happens if he or she is now in an open area. Under no leash constraints and is attacked and becomes aggressive. So I actually like 5 dogs exhibiting aggressive behavior shall not be permitted in the dog. I think the second sentence is a little aggressive. I think it's all.
So are you suggesting eliminate item, the second sentence in entirety, or?
Okay, so dogs exhibiting aggressive behavior shall not be permitted within the dog park. Maybe that sentence can be combined with. You must be removed or should be removed or will be removed or.
The first sentence tells the. It seemed, not allowed in the dog park. Yeah, I could see removing that second sentence. And the first sentence being clear enough.
Because I get your point out about, I like what you're saying, this should be like, not like, follow these rules or you're not gonna be allowed here to do, these are the rules that you follow, so that everyone gets along. I think that second sentence is more aggressive.
Mhm.
What about just using the language of the Corte Madera dog park story? All dogs must be well behaved, don't like all unaggressive, animals are not. Something, or do we just use the first sentence of that?
Move this along, I would make a motion that the first line of item 5 is where it stands. Removing the second sentence.
I would second that.
All in favor? Vicky, how many comments you can stop there?
No, I'm good,
You good?
I'm good, yeah, I was just trying to. I'm good.
All right, so all in favor then? Aye. And just to be clear, item 5 will be the first sentence. We're gonna scratch out the second.
Motion passes 4-0 to scratch out the second sentence in item 5.
Item 6, children under 12 must be accompanied by an adult.
Everyone's got something here.
Some are youngsters, some are. One is,
Hand to call?
Somebody else picked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico is
I'll take a
12.
photo.
It's like a 6th, 7th grade. Yeah.
And you're fitted under the sentence here.
It's sitting in the front seat. Yeah.
Oh. I'm chair here for your phone. Oh, dear, this is why we don't have people. I know, what is this called?
Six or seven. Yeah,
They're in 6 or 7.
I mean, they range in size, believe it or not. I take volunteers for the egg hunt at 7th grade. and-
Because I select to.
Yeah.
Whatever item that is, we haven't gotten there yet, that was my design, 6 dogs.
Mhm.
12-year-old control 6 dogs. And that's where.
12-year-old is probably not a licensed dog walker, though.
Yeah, but we're not saying, we haven't gotten there yet, so we're not saying that, we're saying no more than 6 dogs per person. So, 12-year-old must be accompanied by an adult, so. Can a 12-year-old or 13-year-old control 6 dogs? But I mean, there are a lot of young teens out walking their dog.
Yeah, they're.
Mm.
Seems like a 12-year-old is of a certain size and maturity. That they're not gonna be, you know, they're gonna be paying attention, you think, well.
I'm not believing it.
um,
For guidance. Yeah.
I mean, I personally, I kind of like 12, I think that's appropriate, but,
I have
I
a,
mean, it's consistent with Port Madero, which I think is,
Yeah.
there's some. Positive element of. being
And if it
similar.
hadn't worked for them, they.
Yeah, I think they're working.
I have a 10-year-old that is big enough to do it, but probably not there enough, to, mentally to do it, but in a couple of years, definitely keep working.
So, I mean, like I said, I prefer to those that have the experience and that one.
you got kids?
No, I have a dog though.
Is it a large dog or a small dog?
Well, I think she's a large dog, she's 65 pounds, and my mom said she's a small dog, my mom like mastiff, she's 165 pounds. So
Wow, it's
it's a little ridiculous,
yeah, that's a big dog.
but those picking up rules are pretty important.
Yeah.
She's 75 pounds, she's not moving.
Well, it's definitely not small. It's definitely not a small dog. We're not even talking about medium dogs, which is probably wise.
Right, yeah. So. I
In
prefer-
general for
I prefer
child.
fathers and
I think 12 is perfect.
I wrote 12, yeah.
All right.
All right, so, would someone like to make a motion regarding item 6?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
And just to be clear, the motion is to leave the language as,
Leave number 6 language as is.
all in favor? Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Item 7, there's a limit of 6 dogs per person.
the county role.
It's the county rule for dog walking, which is different than what you're allowed to take into a dog park, which I think comes back to safety being the key thing and being able to control 6 animals simultaneously.
And now there's a lot of 12-year-old in there.
Yeah,
That's why I was saying those two were from him and him.
Mhm.
I mean, the former there is 3, but to your point, we're gonna have some upset dog walkers, so then they're gonna go run rampant on the soccer field.
We could have something that says there is a limit of 3 dogs per person, second sentence. Certified dog walkers are allowed to bring up to 6 dogs.
That's the law is that they're allowed to have 6.
And they have some sort of license to do a dog walking.
From what I could tell, there's a commercial dog walker license that you can apply for through the county.
And they work for a dog walking company, one of the big
Okay.
dog walking.
Yeah.
That's interesting work.
Compliance officer for that.
Like, yeah, you're gonna say certified, is there,
So the other thing that I'll bring up is I have special hours there too, as a possibility just to think about is that dog walkers typically are working Monday through Friday.
like
You know.
adult swim?
Yeah. carpool hours, I don't know. No, I don't want to overcomplicate it, but that's something, or we could also just go with 3.
I would prefer 3, but. I think if you are a professional dog walker, you understand. Having a laminated dog walker license, and you can have 6. We don't identify it. Someone challenges them and say, I'm allowed to have 6. and This is 6 dog walker dogs. 1 and 3. 2 1-year-old.
Any other thoughts?
Just that on the dog walker, if they are being paid to walk the dogs, they can go on the bike path, or they can potentially walk themselves, but maybe that is something to consider.
I'm not married to 3, but I like 3 better. 6 is fine, and that's.
Yeah, I'm on the fence on this one as well.
Mhm.
I can do this either way.
I'd be okay with 6 if they have the license. I'm there. and they're
Can we
expecting
put that in there?
Someone's being held accountable. Yeah.
Would it help to say there's a limit of 6 dogs per owner? And then again, certified dog walkers are allowed up to 6? Or something along that line?
You mean 3 dogs per owner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Limit of 3 dogs per owner. Certified dog walkers are allowed up to 6.
I could live with that.
You got comments, Nick, on this one?
I'm on the fence. I don't want to make it overly complicated. I'm worried that certified dog walkers might open up a different can of worms with
Definitely.
Larkspur business license as opposed to the county business.
Right.
Or that it may attract dog walkers from outside the area.
Is it safe to assume that a professional dog walker knows they're allowed to have 6? Or am I a professional?
I
dog
see
walker?
dog walkers with more than, I see walkers with more than 6 dogs consistently, yeah.
At the park now?
No, out and about,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I'm on the fence about 6, but I'm definitely looking for 6.
Okay.
I think it's like other dogs as well. Someone who walks straight back the dog. It's like,
Do you know how it works with county ordinances versus city ordinances?
When you're in on city property, it would be city rules that apply. So the reason I chose 6 is just because, they're out driving around on the highway or 6 is typically the number that most dog walkers would
so
walk
you're
at any
saying
given
that
time.
Professional dog walkers, other cities come to our dog. We're not saying that.
I don't know. I don't track. My thought, I have thought about it, and my thought is that dog walkers may be coming from out of the area, but typically they're probably picking up local dogs and taking local dogs so they're not driving as much. So a dog walker may be coming from the East Bay or Sonoma County, but they're coming down here and collecting all the local dogs
They're
and
walking the local dogs.
yeah.
Does someone want to make a motion? Having a discussion.
I would make a motion that it's 1 of those 3.
Is there a second?
I will second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Yeah, motion passes. There's a limit of 3 dogs per person. 4-0.
That's it.
And then, the last of the items that have been presented to us anyways. Enter and lead with the dogs on leash, dog plural, on leash. Any discussion? Do you want to leave this? It was earlier, we talked a little bit about perhaps eliminating this item. Is that
I just,
feeling still, or?
I think you could all, got your adrenaline going through that dog, and then he runs rampant and runs with a kid on the playground, that sounded that one.
I know that either Gordon Rivera or Santa Rosa have that in their.
Wonder if they ever.
The entering with the leash.
Senator,
Pulled that from Santa Rosa,
Okay.
yeah.
I think based upon where the dog park is located, to me, that probably would tip the scale. Once again, I'm always coming back to reasonableness. You know,
It's technically the rule in
yeah.
the park
but,
anyway,
but-
it's just kind of reiterating it, yeah.
Yeah. Go in the park, but we've done
Right,
this.
right. I showed my little dog my backpack. I hope that would qualify as a leash.
Yeah.
Big one.
Yes.
Okay. Does someone like make a motion?
I'll make a motion. to Accept it as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Item number 8 passes
Okay.
0.
Now, we have been presented with other rules from some of the other cities. I just want to open up discussion of whether we want to add anything to the item.
The three that come to my mind are no glass, no smoking, and hours of the dog park. Center residents. Those three.
I like the one on Adams. Especially with the Piper.
Oh,
I have written down 2 questions, hours of operation and smoking. So.
is there a smoking ordinance in the park?
There is a smoking ordinance in the park. There's hours in the park to sunrise to sunset in all city parks.
So are you saying that you think it's unnecessary because it's already a park rule?
Not necessarily that it's unnecessary. I believe I just said that. Yeah. I could go either way. I mean, I personally haven't seen a lot of problems with smoking in the park. So
Do we have a no glass rule in the park?
we do not have a no glass rule in the park.
We're gonna pick there.
There is no rule against that. It does.
Having sold one in the park, I should know that.
My thought on it is that it is, I mean, we do have sand volleyball courts. Yeah, I don't know that that's, you know, I would love to not have glass in the park, but I also don't know if it's realistic just because we do allow alcohol in the park in the picnic area. So,
Well, I would include dog park hours
mhm,
personally. I would, and I think there's going to be some other smoking on it, because I can't tell you that I've seen it posted anywhere in Python.
mhm. Yeah, I don't think it is posted.
And if it is the ordinance in the park, we're
Mhm.
perfectly within our purview to add it and sign.
Mhm.
What are your guys' thoughts on dogs must have up-to-date vaccinations? I know Arvo is a real thing.
I don't know how you govern it unless you're walking around with it, but I agree, I don't know how you govern it, but I think that it's fine to put it on there. Because, you know, someone who's law abiding is gonna abide by that.
Is there a city rule on dogs getting vaccinated? or
It's a-
registered?
County rule that dogs have to be registered, licensed, and part of that is vaccinations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So the reason I didn't put it down is because it was
Okay.
kind of assumed in a sense that people are following the rules and have a licensed dog. I mean, just like the leash law. Yeah, so
Okay.
So I'll do the easy ones if they're easy. I would make a selection that include no smoking and dog park hours in addition to this current ones.
Is there a second?
I'll second the.
All in favor?
So the motion passes to add
No smoking.
no smoking.
Close to dog park hours.
Motion passes 4-0.
Then a road that has no female dogs in the feet.
I'm not talking about this. It means something really.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what's what is, did someone want to make a motion to add any additional items other than the hours of operation? Okay. We talked a little bit about having some type of friendly, welcoming statement. Is that something we want to draft tonight, and so that we can move forward with this and without coming back to us, or we want to have him, you know, write up something and then present the next meeting, and we want to go ahead and.
I mean, 'cause I think you want something from us tonight, so we can get a sign made.
Mhm.
To open the head.
Correct.
It's done before we-
I would be fine with that. It's a great idea to have a statement.
Of course, making the chicken, it's nice.
Mhm.
I think that's friendly with the moment.
Yeah,
Welcome to the Piper Park Dog Park, Piper Dog Park. Necessarily unnecessary.
That's for all the park in the world.
Is it the Larkspur or the Piper?
I don't know what the official name is. I think it is going to be the Piper Park Dog Park, though. Piper Park.
The park.
Well, don't get me going, because you probably would have heard something holidays.
please do. I mean, you know, let's knock this out.
I like their last part up to help us keep it that way by following these.
Yes,
rules.
absolutely. That would be,
Buying and thoughtfulness.
I literally like that whole paragraph.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm finding the full button, changing it to Piper Park.
Piper Park or whatever the official name is.
Is this the one and only dog park in Larkspur?
This is the only off-leash dog park in Larkspur. Yeah.
Can we just say, welcome to Larkspur's dog park?
But that's dog park.
Mhm.
The best
Yeah.
dog park in the world. Okay,
best.
I'm gonna wordsmith just for a moment. The only thing I think I would change here is I would change it to say something along the lines is, this park is intended to provide dogs a healthy and safe environment for leash-free socializing and exercise. I'm doing my,
That sounds like a mic drop. to me, I love it.
yeah, I'm doing my risk assessment situation.
So you're just deleting gives
Right,
and then introducing is intended.
is intended to provide dogs, yes, so that we're not making a statement of fact that this is going to be a healthy, safe place.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my,
Doing your lawyer thing. I
yeah,
like that.
there you go,
We have no responsibility for being healthy.
yes.
So let me read the whole thing. Welcome to Larkspur's Dog Park. This park is intended to give dogs a healthy and safe environment for leash-free socializing and exercise. Please help us keep it that way by following these rules.
We just simply change gives to provide. It's intended to provide dogs a healthy.
This park is intended to provide dogs a healthy and safe
I think that
environment.
is
Yeah.
Intended to.
Should there be a hyphen between leash and free?
You would put one in off leash.
I mean, I think we put the hyphen. Personally. I think that's.
I think it would look nice.
All right.
I don't know if grammatically it's correct. but it would look
I think it
nice.
is. I think.
It might be. Although, didn't we put nonprofit back together with one of these?
I will entertain a motion.
I will second that motion.
What was the motion?
To add.
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, okay.
The way I read the whole thing out before.
With all three changes.
The name, so it's changing coordinator to Larkspur. Eliminating Gibbs to the is intended to language. And then putting the hyphen for the mission break. Those three changes.
I will make that motion.
And then second,
And I will second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes to introduce friendly paragraph at the beginning of the rules.
All right, seems to me that we have concluded business item 5.1, unless there's any last minute comment or anything we need to discuss. If not, let's move on to item 6, the director's oral report.
Thank you.
Where
Where are my notes?
Your first meeting, let's go back to that one directly.
Wait, is that official?
So officially, I am the rec director as of 3 weeks ago. I was appointed by City Manager Schwartz. And currently also the interim library director.
And what about parks? You make a distinction between parks and recreation. Is it
So
rec
there's-
director?
Yeah, so you are the Park and Rec Commission. I am the Recreation Director, and I happen to I work closely with Rita and Julian in parks. But technically,
That's a shared responsibility.
yes, yeah. So I am the Recreation Director. Yeah, and interim library director.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, sir.
Thank you. So this is officially my first meeting as director. And speaking of library, we had first round of interviews yesterday with potential library directors, candidates, and had a good, strong interview or candidate pool, and recommended 2 candidates to move on to the second round. And that'll be taking place in the next couple weeks, and that's going to be an interesting mix. It'll be meeting with city staff, as well as one representative from each of the library support groups, which is the Commons Foundation, the Library Board, the Friends of the Library, and I forgot where we are now.
Friends of Library, Commons, and the library.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So big nationwide search, and I'm very excited for the 2 candidates that have moved on to the next round. Ideally, we'll have somebody in place in June, which will allow me to bring my focus back to rec. Speaking of library, Friends of the Library is hosting Touch Trucks at it's on May 7th, Sunday, May 7th at Redwood High School. So if you guys know toddlers, young kids that go out there, this is a fundraiser for the Commons Foundation and the new library. It's a great event for kids. They had a lot of fun last year, and I'll be out there. So you come say hi to me if you come by, but I think it's $20, $25 for the family. And there'll be some food trucks, and it'll be a great community experience. So and that's
Yeah, tell me a little bit about it.
yeah. So Touch Trucks is Touch a Truck is actually a licensed name that we can't use, but we use Touch Trucks. And so Barbara Friday with the and the Friends of the Library have reached out to organizations, companies, construction companies, painting companies, and everybody has a lot of, like 40 companies have donated their vehicle for a day out there. And so there's going to be dump trucks, school buses, there'll be a fire truck, tree trimming trucks, dump trucks. I already said that, but a ton of trucks, and the kids can get up and play on them and blow the horns. They can't do that. Oh, in that case, but they'll get up, take photos with it. It's a fun day for kids. Librarians will be out there reading stories as well. Larky will make an appearance. Larky is the, I don't know about Larky. Larky is
You
the
don't know about Larkspur?
Larkspur Library hippopotamus
The mascot.
mascot.
I could
Yeah.
have taken 5 to 10 guesses.
Don't you have a library card?
Marky has never chatted with me.
So come out and you can meet Larky on Sunday, Sunday the 7th.
My one will be there.
Perfect.
With my grandnephew, so we are very, very excited.
Yeah.
Very excited.
So spread the word. If you know people with young kids, it's
It's a fun start.
that is a 10 a.m. start time, and that's the Redwood East parking lot, which is the softball
Yeah.
softball field side, the one without the solar panels. Yeah, we wouldn't be welcome back. Speaking of fun events, the flashlight egg hunt was 2 Fridays ago, and it was our first time doing it since 2019, and I was really nervous about. There was a bunch of things I was nervous about. I was worried about people showing up because it had been a break for a few years, and then of course it rained way more than it was supposed to until about 2 o'clock. And trees were down in the park, grass was super long. There was a lot of things going against us, but we held the course. Public Works was able to get some tree trimmers out and spruce up the trees. We kept the grass long, and my best estimates, we had over 200 kids and probably about 500 people out at the park that Friday with flashlights. Started right at 8:30. I used a basketball timer, counted down. Okay, it was really close. It was like 8 seconds left when the kids broke, but it was such a rush, and it was so fun to be doing those events again. And biggest turnout we've had for it. And like I said, the grass was really long. There was a lot of great hiding spots, and it probably lasted all of 5-6 minutes before the eggs were gone, even in the dark. And then kids in the dark continued to look for probably another half hour. So families hung out, and we had our backpack brigade, which was going around. They have extra eggs in the backpack, scattering them for kids that didn't find any. So it was just a great feel, a lot of positive feedback, and a ton of fun. And then we got up bright and early that Saturday morning, the 8th, and had a Twin Cities egg hunt at Town Park that we do in conjunction with Corte Madera Park and Rec. And we again had another at least 500 people out there that day. That egg hunt is over within 2 minutes with the short grass and kids everywhere. We had about 9,000 eggs out there. So again, great feel. We had the backpack brigade out there, and no kid left empty-handed. And then the flashlight one, we had 3,500 eggs. So we had a ton of eggs this year. Yeah, so fun time. Really enjoyed it. Any questions about this? And the only other update, which I kind of shared with you, is that the dog park is close to completion. We're waiting right now. There's a few accessories that need to be added, some irrigation work that needs to be done. And then we're also updating the bathrooms to be ADA accessible. That work is expected to be completed. Again, the timeline is kind of a moving target right now, but the hope is that it'll be done by Memorial Day. And then we'd like to do some kind of ribbon cutting out there when it's ready. So we'll be sending out some info about that to you all.
Do you happen to have an update on Gulliver Park and what's going on with the destroyed play structure?
Yes, I don't have a great update for you. I know that they're looking to get we're looking to get FEMA, thank you, funds for that, and so we're kind of in a holding pattern to come up with the funds. It will be replaced. It's just a matter of how it's paid for and when that happens.
Do you have any updates on the construction and on air landing?
Yeah, so I believe all the concrete was poured today, all the hardscaping was poured at Bon Air Landing. And now all that needs to be done. The dock still needs to be installed and all the landscaping as well. So I don't have a date for that one yet, but I know that they're moving along. Yeah, and Rita couldn't be here tonight, but she is planning on a really big parks update for you, I think, in May. Hopefully there's a lot more to update you on with pictures. Yeah,
Has ribbon gone out to bid or has a bid been awarded?
do not know.
And that completes your director's report.
That completes my director's report.
Awesome, thank you. Open up for any commissioner reports. Anyone have any comments?
Kind of now I'm working with the Commons Foundation so we can fund the landscaping for the new library. We raised 5.2 million and matched the city was able to get a statewide grant for the matching out, so we've got 10.3 something million. And so now we're sort of done, but now we're been appointed by the city to raise $1 million. So that's not going to be it.
Will you also at some point need to fundraise for the building?
Depends on how that all works out.
Okay.
The library has to be 6425 square feet based on the state grant. And how that means space works out and what may or may not happen with this building. Lots of conversation, but the RQ is done, so we expect to start seeing a final bid by the end of this year, by September 15th. Very exciting.
Any other commissioner has a topic of discussion?
I have a question for you.
Please go
What else do you have planned for this year, Nate? Because I really want ice cream.
We're looking. I don't know that ice skating is in the plans. We'll see.
There's companies that come in and set up a small portable rain and revival. Exhibitions of the lights in the park.
Yes, Lights in the Park is, we'll have to talk about that, and I hope that that's definitely high on my to-do list. Music in the Park is a little bit sooner, so we're looking to do Music in the Park this summer. And I'll get you final dates and stuff for that when I have it. Yeah.
If that's it, the commissioner's reports. Before we adjourn, I just wanted to bring up the passing of Sandy Blavell. I think we miss if we say something about our long former colleague. Gee, I don't want to put you on the spots, but you have the longest history with her. Would you mind just saying a few words about her and how long you've known her?
I also just realized now that I'm the old lady that's commission.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Sandy was amazing, and we all got the notice from Nick, and it was very sad. She got a little quiet recently, taking care of herself. I actually know her son. I worked with him for several years. Sandy was amazing. Her institutional knowledge of this city and every crevice and every event that happened, and the quote scripture and verse when we can sit up here about, well, in 2002, we did this. Like, she was a wealth of knowledge. And I remember when I first came on this commission 2.5 terms ago, she took me a coffee and tried to give me the lay of the land because I hadn't served in this city. And she'll be missed. So she did some great work. She was one of the founders of the Larkspur Foundation, Community Foundation, which does amazing work in town. And not only do they do amazing work in town in their own right, they also thank every other volunteer and all the other organizations. Which is sort of really wonderful that that happens in conjunction with the city. So they're nice, she is a force. So I would, when we're ready, I would like to.
I think this is the right time, and thank you for that, I really appreciate hearing those words.
I would move that we adjourn the meeting and send the block out any years of services.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to.